welcome to the Monthly Blooms video. In this episode, you'll see my African Violet standards. And in the second part, I'll show the miniatures and semi-miniatures that are blooming this month. Here is a standard trailer variety called Glitter Fountain by Irene Fredette. This is a very large growing standard trailer. This is just a single crown, so you can compare it to the size of my hand here. And it's blooming profusely now with semi-double pink blooms with some red fantasy and red sparkle edge. And I also like this trailer for the beautiful beige pink crown variegation on leaves. So this is just one crown, and you can see the main stem here. And this is a secondary crown starting to grow. Look at the color of the leaves. Aren't they pretty? Far back here is a young plant of Lyons Spectacular by Sydney Serrano. The blooms on this variety are very large normally, and this is just the first blooming cycle. And the blooms are semi-double, white large frilled stars with blue eye and shading, and some blue and green edge. This is Hawaiian Dancer, a 2019 release by Paul Serrano and Lyndon Lyon Greenhouses. This is an older plant and it has grown a long neck. You can see it here, so I need to repot it. But I wanted to show you the blooms first. And I've shown it in the past. It has some green frilled edge that is most prominent in cooler growing temperatures. And the blooms are beautiful, hot pink with white purple edge and pink fantasy flecks. Here is Ace of Spades, a standard variety by Kent Stork. I like this plant for the beautiful quilted dark green foliage and the blooms that are white with blue eye, and they stand out very nicely on the dark green background of the leaves. This is my Cajun's Fascinating Fury by Belinda Thibodeau. Still growing and blooming without fantasy that is supposed to be in the blooms. And I love the blooms for the intense, deep, dark purple color. And I also like this variety for the beautiful variegation on the leaves. This is a new variety for me. I didn't show it before. So this is the first bloom on Ness Candy Pink. I got this variety last year from Fancy Bloomers. And the variegation on this variety is very beautiful. Look at the pink variegation on the leaves. And the color truly speaks to the name of this variety, Candy Pink. Very bright, vivid pink color. So this is a standard by Don Ness. Semi-double, hot pink, ruffled star. And behind it is our good old friend, No ID Violet from the Bringing a New Plant Home video. This is the first blooming cycle. It's finishing to bloom now after the quarantine. I picked this variety because I was really taken by the deep purple color of the blooms and the very prominent frilled bright green edge around the petals. Here is a Russian hybrid called PT Svetlanka by Tatiana Pugacheva. It has pink blooms that are double with blue fantasy and white penciled edge. It's a large growing standard. Here is Hunter's Slippery When Wet, finishing the first blooming cycle. The standard is by Ken Mozelewski, and it's a 2019 release. The blooms are truly spectacular on this hybrid. They look like roses with some light and dark pink and green edge. Here in front is a vintage variety by Jim Iredome called Lullaby. It has dark green foliage and very beautiful and delicate two-tone blue blooms. It blooms all the time with very short breaks between blooming cycles. Next to it is Optimara Romance from Victorian Charm series by Holtkamp. This is a variegated standard variety with some pink variegation on leaves and pink semi-double blooms. It's blooming profusely like all Optimaras. Behind it is a young plant of Eka Morской Volk. It translates into English as EK Seawolf by Yelena Korshunova. It's a Russian hybrid with unusually large double blue blooms with wavy petals. And you can compare it here to the size of my hand. This is a very large bloom. Behind it is Lyons Sassy Sadie by Paul Serrano and Linden Lyon Greenhouses. This is the first bloom in the new blooming cycle. It's a semi-double light maroon red pansy with dark maroon frilled edge. It's a large growing standard, and I don't have much space, but it has such beautiful blooms that I just could not pass on this one. So I had to have this variety. Look at the blooms. Beautiful. And finally, here is a rarely seen hybrid by Janet Stromborg called Allegro Aspenglow. It has very beautiful dark foliage, and the blooms are described as single and semi-double coral pink ruffled star with darker eye, purple fantasy, and variable darker rays. These are very beautiful blooms, and they sparkle in the sunlight as well. And here is a younger bloom that is darker in color. So when they just open up, they are more saturated, and then as the flowers grow larger, they become a little lighter, but still very beautiful. So these are all of my African violet standards that are blooming right now. And in the next episode, I'll show you the miniatures and the semi-miniatures that are in bloom this month. Stay tuned